All right. Well, welcome to the we call our feminine wisdom circles. And I'm Laura Rubenstein, and this is Vasi Huntals. And we're really excited today because we have a really special topic, and we just love doing this with women. And it's just a sacred time where we can connect, do our little balancing, as I like to call it, of energies. We spend so much time in our masculine. We live in a highly masculinized world. Um, And when we bring in the feminine energy more consciously, things start to flow. And Vasi's all about flow. I know one of the things I love about you. And so we just finished a retreat on June, what was it, 8th? And it was a magical time. So we'll have some time to share about that. But in the meantime, I wanted to just share our intention of our time together today, and I'll put it on screen. The intention of our time is really to create this sacred space for women leaders who are steeped in wisdom to access that juicy feminine energy and have more flow, integrate that feminine into your life, rejuvenate your soul, and elevate harmony and joy in your life. So I like to say, up your joy. So before we dive into a whole lot more, we like to get centered. And I'm going to ask Vasi to say anything you want to open us up and then center us.
Yeah. And that last bullet that you shared about up your joy, that's like one of my favorites. And it's all good. And yet that one is so powerful. Let's take a moment right now to just tune into yourself and just say, what's my joy on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being absolute bliss? Like, where are you in this moment? I'll just pause so you can just notice that for yourself and make a note. And wherever you are is perfect. We're just being aware of it. We'll go back to that later. So, right now, let's take some time to get centered and invite you to close your eyes if you'd like and take a deep breath, breathing in for 4, holding for 4, and releasing 4, 3, 2, 1. And now take a big deep breath. Feel your chest rising, expanding, your heart opening. And then on the out breath, just letting go of anything that's weighing on your heart, your mind, your body. And when we keep breathing this way, our body starts to relax. And just notice on the next breath, maybe if you can just drop your shoulders a little bit more as you breathe out and release. And take a next breath. And if you'd like, on the out breath, you can just maybe wave your hands, letting go of any tension in your arms, your hands. We spend so much time usually on the computer. Wonderful. I'm going to invite you to see above your head, see, feel, or just know a beautiful sunshine. And it's a magnificent sunshine, radiant golden light. And that light is your soul essence. And there's the perfect amount of feminine energy there, feminine power. And if you'd like, you could even tilt your head back, imagine yourself, or actually tilt your head back and just feel yourself receiving more of that feminine energy from that beautiful, radiant golden sun. And there's some magical qualities to those rays that are just cascading down, sparkling, activating within you an even deeper knowing and connection to your magnificence. Today, we're all about wondering about your magnificence, exploring it, connecting with it. So in this moment, just let yourself feel those beautiful rays with the sun above your head, infusing you with a golden light of awareness and appreciation of your magnificence. And those golden rays just cascade down from your head, your throat, your shoulders, your heart, your stomach, your hips, all the way down your legs to your toes. You can wiggle your toes if you'd like. Maybe spread them out a little bit more on the ground. And feel into that magnificence that you are. Is there a word or phrase that comes to you that symbolizes, that captures your magnificence? I'll just pause here for a moment to give you a chance to just feel into that energy of your magnificence. See if there's a word or phrase that captures your magnificence, your unique magnificence. And trust what you receive. And if it's not words, perhaps it's a feeling, perhaps it's an image, a color. And then when you're ready, place your hand on your heart and connect with the intention that brought you to this call. It could be the original intention, it could be the intention that you're aware of right now. What is your intention for being on the call? And then you can let go of that intention, knowing that just being aware of it allows it to be present, allows it to already be here in this space. When you're ready, I invite you to gently open your eyes and maybe feel your feet on the ground again, connect in to that earth, to your seat, wherever you're sitting.
I didn't want to come back. It was such a great place you took us. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks. I never know, but it's whatever energy, all of you show up and the people listening to the replay. Yeah, that's what's there for us.
And I love, Vasi, that you brought up that what our theme is today. It's about exploring your magnificence. And I want to let you know that whether you agree with this or not, you are a magnificent being. And I'll prove it to you. So there is about a 1 in 1 trillion odds that you exist. I mean, think about all the sperm, the one egg that that's a 1 in 1 trillion chance that you would be formed you. And just by being you, I mean, there's nothing you have to do. It is who you are. So let's do this. Let's co-create a definition of feminine energy by just sharing, well, actually, not even a feminine, let's just get to know each other better and we'll each say our name, where we're at, what we're up to in the world, and the phrase or word that came through during the meditation here, the little centering we did, a powerful centering. So Jessica, why don't you go, and then Vasi and I will introduce ourselves.
Okay. I'll try not to go too deep in introducing myself then. Yeah, so my name is Jessica Sudine, obviously by the screen there you can read that. I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, near the Rocky Mountains. I have a background in engineering leadership as well as motorsports. And what I'm up to right now is getting some tactical tasks off my plate in order to really get into a creative space of launching. Launching. I think that's a good way to put it. It was so cool when you said magnificence, and it's ironic. I've got my mom's little sister is coming. My mom's passed, and I was her caregiver. So all of this is very much in my energy and very much in my world still. And my aunt, who is there with me, she's going to be arriving tomorrow night for a visit. And what came to me when we were talking about magnificence was something that it's a body gesture. It's something that her and I spoke about, and it's about being this. And she said, Jess, your mom knew you were this, and you make sure that no one makes you this.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Wow.
What a gift.
And that's it. That's really, really it. And it's such a wonderful thing, because now whenever anything doesn't feel in integrity, I always go back to that. I'm like, is this still here? Or is this being shrunk? And how am I going to react to that shrinking or that growth?
Yeah. I think it's so powerful because in today's day and age, women have an important role to play in healing and creating a shift. And it's got to start with us staying out in our magnificence. So your mom was onto something. That was your mom or your aunt?
Well, it was my aunt and I speaking about times of my life where it felt like certain people were trying to, they were embarrassed for me if I was too outgoing. And really, if they thought I was outgoing, they hadn't met my mom. And it was my aunt that said, your mom always said that she was always worried about people taking away this of you.
So that's her legacy.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for, it's perfect that you're here. So, as you know, I'm Laura Rubenstein, and most people know me online as a digital marketer, but I have this other side of me that I've pursued as a passion, and that is integrating the feminine into our world. And I've led workshops since 1991 for women, and recently reignited that. And in 2007, I came out with a deck of wisdom cards called the Feminine Power Cards, and they're at femininepowercards.com. And we will be using them today. Somewhere in my journey, I also became a hypnotherapist, a leadership and business development coach, a life coach, and just a serial entrepreneur, really. I feel like I've reinvented myself many times, and it's as the market shifts, I will move with it. So and I'm here in San Diego. And what else? I think that's it.
Vasi, what did you see?
Oh, and my word. Oh my gosh. It was
word.
Like radiant love. And embodying radiance and radiating love. That was like, and I love, Vasi, this going back and soaking it in. I really felt that. That was, thank you, Jessica.
That feels so true for you, Laura. Yeah, love that. Well, I'm Vasi Huntalis. I'm also here in San Diego. I love that we're all wearing our tank tops. You can tell it's warm, right? Wherever we are today. And let's see, what feels important to share? I always pause because it always seems different for the group. I'm an intuitive coach. That's my current incarnation. Although as I look back through all my years, there was always that piece of intuition and creativity. Those two are very much connected for me. That's how I connected with my feminine. So whether I'm doing my intuitive painting or I'm helping clients connect with their higher self and helping them clear energy of whatever's in the way of them making that greater impact in the world, it's the same thing I've been doing since I was a little girl. And, like Laura, it's had many iterations over the years. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years with different types of businesses. And I have to say that this is my most favorite time of my life, in terms of my feeling like I'm being who I'm here to be and doing what I'm meant to do. And it's with such great delight that I'm here with Laura and doing these retreats and doing these monthly gatherings, because it just feels like all of me is included. And that's been my search for many years, is how can I bring more of these multidimensional aspects of me, which we all have, right? Because that's our magnificence. And so the word that came to me as we were doing it, or the phrase, was unleashed joy. Unleashed joy. So that's how my magnificence is wanting to be expressed right now. Yeah.
Unleash joy. Woo, juicy.
Nice.
It's funny, I was recently at my niece's college graduation, and her sister, who's younger, brought a cowbell, and she had the cowbell ready. There were 2,000. So as you can imagine, we waited 2 hours to like be joyful about, her standing up and getting her diploma. And there was my niece bringing that cowbell when her name was announced. And I just was just remembering that joy right now. And it's like, I just felt like ringing like two cowbells for us right now, that for whatever reason, we found ourselves here in this time and space together. Isn't that amazing?
So perfect.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to explore our magnificence a little deeper today and share with each other. And then we also wanted to share a little bit about the retreat because it was really fun, and then how you can stay connected with us. So I pulled a card today, or I actually pulled it ahead of time. And I'm just going to put what it says on the screen so you can see it. It says, know, explore, and wonder about your own magnificence. Know, explore, and wonder about your own magnificence. And what's really cool about these cards is that on the pink side is the principle, on the blue side is the practice. So the practice for this is, and there are 3 types of practices. There's affirmations, actions, something to do, and something to contemplate, like questions. Affirmation, actions, and questions. This one has an affirmation. So let's all say this after me. I am a beautiful being of love and light.
I am a
I'm a
beautiful
beautiful
being
being of love
of love
and light.
and light.
Yes. And just, soak that in. And that just is like what I felt when we were letting the golden light shower us. It's just like, it just was an affirmation, like something so beautiful overcomes me and just makes that radiance, it enhances that radiance. So we wanted to have each person share with each other, what are some ways that help remind you that you're magnificent, number 1, and what can you let go of that will help you connect with your magnificence, number 2. So I will put those questions in the chat so we can both all contemplate this and together, because I think it's powerful, and we'll do this together. Oh, there's an extra number in there, but that look, I can actually edit it. How fun. Okay, so what are some ways that help remind you that you are magnificent? Is something coming to mind for anyone?
Yeah, I've got something that came right away. And it was actually even at the beginning of the feeling the light. As soon as it went to my throat and my heart chakra, this instance came up, and it was someone telling me at a conference that I was speaking at, and it was an engineering students conference, and I talk about emotional intelligence and social intelligence and how people get along, and I always ask questions, right? Like, what's going on with you and stuff. And this guy just looked at me and he's like, I have never felt so heard.
Heard, Heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he said to me, right now, I feel like the most important person to you. And I look up to you. I can't wait to hear you on the panel, blah, 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 blah. But like, you are honestly making me feel like the most important person to you right now at this moment. That is a huge part of my magnificence.
Your ability to be present and listen. and it gets noticed, obviously, because so many people don't do that for each other.
Yeah.
That is so awesome, powerful. And how about the second question? What can you let go of that will help you connect with your magnificence?
Uh, just self judgment,
Mm,
Mm.
really going into flow, forgiving quickly, and then just moving on, like getting on with it, not in a bad way, but in a flow way. Like just, it's okay, just move on. Let's go.
when you say forgiving, are you talking about yourself or others or both?
Myself.
Yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is super, like a supercharged way to get into your magnificence. Like if we can forgive ourselves, wow, then we are magnificent. Then what's left? The truth of that. That's so cool. Thank you. Vasi, you want to share?
Yeah. One of the ways that I connect with my magnificence, I was sharing this with Laura actually before the call, is when I wake up in the morning, I just ask for declarations. They aren't affirmations, but they're truths. They're like, I ask for declarations. And so then I just start writing them down, what I hear. I am this, I am that. Um, and then this morning, it was so beautiful. This morning, I was hearing, I am a love miracle. I am an inspiration. I am magic. And then I heard, I am me. And I was like, me? What's me? And then I heard, magnificence expressed. Me. It's an acronym for magnificence expressed. And I was like, and this is something I think is so meaningful, is like I will forget that I wrote these things because literally I'm in a different, state. I'm in like you were saying, Jessica, like not having any judgment or anything like that, just in an open state. So sometimes if I can't get that going in the morning, like what's my magnificent? I flip back in my journal and I just let it open. And it's like, it's the perfect, whatever I wrote that day in the past is the perfect thing. And then that kind of like gets my engine going. And then I'm like, okay, back to center. And then I get that day's declarations, as I'm calling them. Um,
I didn't expect this. I have a phone call coming in and I have to make sure that it's not a trucking boss.
Okay.
okay.
I love that. Magnificent express. And then you had a few questions that came along with that.
Yeah. So the questions were, how am I expressing, or how are you, like just for people, how are you expressing your magnificence in the world? I think a lot of times we don't give ourselves credit for that because it's so natural to us, right? We're just being who we are. I think it's important to bring our awareness to how we're already being that magnificence.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Jessica tapped into that when she said she's, um, listening, active listening is the gift of your magnificence to others. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then the
Yeah.
other question was, who am I being when I express that magnificence? Again, Jessica, like you spoke to that, you were what I was seeing as you were describing that is you're a witness to people. Like you witness their greatness, you witness who they are, and that allows you to be non-judgmental and really to see them, and to allow them to see themselves because they're feeling heard and seen. It's a beautiful gift. Yeah.
And when we find that common ground and we look into it and then we look for their uniqueness, it's just like there's a treasure in front of it. We're honoring their magnificence. I really feel that when I am reminded of that myself when I'm doing a hypnosis session with somebody, because my whole intention is to pull forth that and remind people of their magnificence. And in doing so, hypnosis is not just I'm doing it to somebody else, I'm doing it to myself too at the same time that I'm, in with another person. And so we're both getting the benefit of that. And so it's just a beautiful process where I can appreciate the person in front of me even more. And then myself giving of that gift of acknowledging their magnificence is the gift of my magnificence, and we're just doing this dance. the Magnificence dance or dance of magnificence. So I think what I have to let go of is the self-judgment of when I'm not with other people, right? And I'm like, this, I need to, and I'm nurturing myself, and it's okay to nurture myself. And not that it's not okay, it's always okay. But there's always like my to-do list calling me as well. But I'm like, no, I really need to nurture myself right now. So honoring that, and without the little voice saying, go do your to-dos. We gotta let go of the to-do voice and make more time for that. Is what I'm excited about. And in this card of exploring and wondering, I like this card for those two words: explore and wonder. Explore and wonder. I also felt it like this weekend and I feel it other times when I'm cooking and I'm having people over, or I'm cooking for people. There's like this intention of bringing that radiant love into the cooking and into the enjoyment of it and the taste of it. And I just feel like if I create the most delicious and healthy meal that somebody enjoys, I've done a great service, and it's magnificence embodied in food. That's a real fun one.
It's also love in the food, because when you
Right.
prepare it, you
There's
just
an
pour
ingredient
your love
there.
into it. I can taste the difference. Yes.
It comes out better with that.
Mhm.
I
Definitely.
think the deep tradition of breaking bread and of sharing that need of nutrition is, I think, is so significant as well.
Yeah, I had a friend over last night and her husband, and we made avocado gazpacho, and we had fresh tomatoes from our garden, so I chopped them up. We had fresh basil from our garden. We made pesto. We had fresh kale. I made a kale sweet potato salad with a maple Dijon vinaigrette. It just with pumpkin seeds and cranberries, and it was just like an explosion of flavors. Scallions from our garden in the soup, and some cucumbers from our garden. It was like all this fresh food from the earth and from our garden, and that we put into this meal. And I hope I'm making you hungry.
You're making my mouth water. How's that?
Yeah. I mean, it was just so, and it was so fulfilling. It was like, wow, who knew fresh fruits, vegetables could taste so magnificent, bring such joy. So, yeah, it's really cool to be able to do that kind of thing for each other, and know that it makes a difference. Just like Jessica, you were saying, listening to somebody makes a huge difference. So
Yeah.
I'm curious at this stage what each of your numbers for joy were, and what you would say they're at now. What would you say your joy is at now? Did it rise, is my question, really, just by having this conversation and contemplating this. Yeah, the power of gathering with women. I mean, we've only been together about 30 minutes, but it made a huge difference. It's so simple. We have
Yeah.
such power here. And we'll probably end really early because we didn't have a lot of people to share. But
Do you want to go first, Vasi?
Oh, yeah. So my number, you mean in terms of sharing where my joy is now? Yeah. So my number was like about a 6. And then even before Laura asked the question, I was noticing the difference in my energy. And I was like, wow, I think I'm about an 8 right now. So I went from like a 6 to an 8. Yeah.
how about you, Jessica?
Wicked. Yeah, that's so funny. I wrote down 6.5.
There you go.
And yeah, I'm feeling that 8.5. It's really, yeah. And Laura, I just want to call out some appreciation. It's so nice to hear someone else talk about their to-do list. And that's what I'm talking about when I said I've got some tactical things that are weighing on me. And that's affecting my joy, my magnificence. It's affecting my creativity hugely, and it's a balance, right?
And do you notice yourself resisting doing it at all? Your tactical stuff? Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I went through a little bit of that today. There's like, I had to make some calls and appointments and this and that. And I'm like, why am I putting this off? And I go, you know what? What if I just do it? I
Yeah.
just dial that number right now. Oh my God, I got it done. Oh my gosh, I got it done. I was like, maybe I can do another thing, even though there's this draw to resisting it. I did it anyway. And it was kind of it was kind of the masculine and the feminine working together.
Mm.
So the masculine was I don't know who was resisting it, but I coaxed it. I used this feminine what if question, not like you have to, not like a force, but there was a little urge in there. So,
Yeah.
And I used kind of this balance thing. So I didn't beat myself up like I normally would, but I'm like, you know what? Heck, what's stopping me really? I kind of sometimes I have to play tricks on myself. It's like, what if the game, what if? So that's my game. What game can you make for yourself? And I had to just take it in the moment. Like I had an extra 25 minutes. I was like, well, I could go snack. I could, look up something online, or that tactical thing I had to do. So what
Yeah.
I'd love for you to take away is know that Vasi and I have your heart.
Mm.
And that if there's resistance, you can give it to us energetically, and we'll put it into flow.
Mm.
And Vasi's really good at doing that. But you
Mm.
can just think of us and we can just smooth the road out for you.
That's beautiful.
Like you're holding our hands and we're helping you take that next step.
Mm-hmm.
So we see it done in flow. In flow.
I had the same, very similar experience this morning about resisting doing something that really is hindering, and it's such a menial thing. It's just calling to get a quote for some painters downstairs, but I mean, all of that means I'm going to be able to create my space downstairs, which is on hold because hubby and I aren't doing the painting. So it's time to just get the help, move on, and create that space for the creativity. And just like you, I had a little break in the morning and I said, you just find that email, call it back. Like she emailed me out of nowhere. We did work for you 3 years ago. Do you have any projects? Yeah, I do. And she's coming at 8 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday to come do a quote.
Yay!
Oh, great.
But how crazy is that we're all high performance women, and to have something so little have such a trickle effect on flow, on the creativity space, like this is downstairs is where my playground's going to be, and I want to start creating it. So
It's
why would
almost,
I get in
yeah,
my own way of the creating it?
it's almost like it's a bad word, addiction to the not doing. I feel like and here's what I mean by that, not like a bad thing, but like when I actually did it, I'm like, well, now what am I going to worry about? Like now what, I don't feel that pressure anymore. And
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
but there's got to be some pressure. It's like I'm addicted to this state of mind where there's this pressure behind my life. And I'm like, I have to get used to like releasing the pressure,
Exactly.
being
I
used to the pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I was so much in my awareness today about the pressure I put on myself or have, especially in the past, and how we do as women. And there's a belief under there that if I just relax, nothing will get done. Nothing will happen. Right? I can't, that's a belief that's in our subconscious for many of us. And so that got me to noticing how I was such a mean girl to myself when I was in resistance and I didn't get things done, which actually made it worse because then I put more pressure on myself to do it. And then that felt even ickier, right? And more energy to get it done. And so I was like noticing that cycle and I was like, how did I break that cycle? Like it still fall into it, but more often than not, I don't. And then I was like, oh, it was self-love.
Mm.
It was self-love because if something is really in my highest good to do, it's on my list, if there's a purpose, there's a reason. So if I really care for myself, I'm not going to like get in my way or sabotage myself. I'll be like, yeah, sweetie, sooner you get that done, the better you're gonna enjoy your room, your beautiful room that's painted or whatever. So that's what's taken me into a different space is what's really in my best interest. If I was like standing beside myself, like as a mother would, like, honey, sweetie, just do it. Just imagine what the energy will be freed. You won't be worrying about this. And I was like, oh my gosh, worry was like the most abusive thing I could do to myself, right? So I don't know if all that makes sense, but I was like, the pieces were coming together today, and I just you triggered that, and both of you did in what you shared.
And just so you know, both of you, I'm exactly with you, Vasi and Jessica, on the joy. It was around 6, 7,
Oh yeah.
and 8, 9. The
Oh,
joy, right?
wow.
We're very in tune with each other. That's very cool.
Holy.
That's great. And Jessica, it
Yeah,
looked like you were going to say something.
oh, it was just I so resonate with the if I relax, nothing will get done.
Mhm.
And I feel that from outside a lot as well. You know, like the encouragement that some of your supposed to be fans will be like, "Oh, geez, what do you mean? Like you should really get that off your list. Like, what's going on?" And the whole like energy around how you ask someone what's going on as opposed to saying, "How can I support?" which is the energy that's here. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between feminine and masculine energy in general is that it's the whole old belief system that you get scolded about it. So it's exactly what you started, Laura, and you finished it, Vasi. You finished it perfectly. It was like the fear of missing out on the pressure. If I relax, nothing will get done. Oh, you got to get scolded and then you're going to get it done. And what happens? You have all this icky energy around doing these tasks, and they could just be relaxed and nice, and you're just getting it done, like making those phone calls that we made this morning. You just kind of do it, as opposed to that icky, like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll get this done. And I don't want that icky anymore because the tacticals actually I love, but it's this resistance of getting. And once I start, I'm in it, I love it. But maybe it is a bit
Right.
of that addiction. Maybe it is a bit of that addiction to that pressure. Oh, yeah.
But you know what you can replace that with? Or for me, it's like space, like slowing down and like, what do I want to do first? What would
Mm.
feel right? Like I feel like I love having space to choose what I want to do. So I black out a lot of time in my calendar. I call it buffer time. And some people look at my calendar, oh, you're really busy. I'm like, if you only knew, most of those are not with other people, those appointments. It's just for me to choose something from my to-do list to do. And, the more, and I have a mantra, by the way, that always seems to work. The more time I take off, the more business I get. The more time I take off, the more business. So the more I take care of myself, the more business, the more opportunities come my way. And it's all in the right timing. A lot of times opportunities or business will die down right before I'm going away. And then I'm like, oh, good. So I don't have like this, pressure while I'm away. And then opportunities will show up when I get back, just because I have that mantra.
Beautiful.
Love that. Yes.
So it's really fabulous to share wisdom in what we call our feminine wisdom circles and with other women. And I think the more we do that as women with other women, the more change, impact our life we can have in the world. And instead of being in our silos, I like to call this going from silos to synergy. That's what we do our retreats around. And would you like to hear a little bit about our last retreat?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Oh, it was magical. So Vasi and I, this was our second retreat doing together, my third, and I call it the Spa-licious retreat. And it's really for women to let their hair down, to just relax, be themselves, take off any masks they have, not in a scary way, but just know that they're in a safe environment and do self-nurturing. We did a cooking class, we did soul collage, which is an intuitive collaging process where you get to see your own wisdom kind of like in your own magnificent unfold in images you collage. And that was really powerful. Do you want to say something about that? Because I'm the facilitator of that, but I think you might.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just love the way you facilitate that, Laura. It's just amazing. And it's just talk about spaciousness. People get to choose images and then they get to create these like 5x7 cards. And then we do readings. So they got to partner up with another woman and actually use their own cards and then Laura's cards that she had created from her deck. And each one is unique. And their wisdom, their intuition is reflected in the way they're answering because you're just looking at it and the words are coming. And we noticed that the women that paired up, they were exactly with the right partner to answer those questions and to have deeper insights. It was uncanny how that happened. It was so amazing. And there was a sense of just like things dropping away of the mind, like one person said, this was my intention, but then something else, the cards wanted a different intention for her. And then she was receptive to it, which normally she probably wouldn't have been, so there was just a real surrender and a sense of allowing in something more to be discovered. Yeah.
And we did sound healing, which was
Oh,
that's right. We started off our second day with sound healing. We did some more work with the feminine power cards, but we did a lot of wisdom sharing. We really learned from each other different things, whether it was about food and nutrition to someone's expertise to book recommendations and just sharing, just really. Oh, and we did your process, Vasi.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. And at the end, we did a process that I literally talk about being in flow. Laura had us doing these movements, and I dropped my head down and I brought my head up. And in a minute, I got a whole exercise to use to close our time together. It was about an hour and 15 minutes where each woman started with a passion project or focus they wanted to leave the retreat with to focus on. And then we each step was we created a flower with leaves and balancing your masculine and feminine qualities, and the leaves on the right side were your feminine and the left side were the masculine, and the stem was your why, your reason why this project was important to you. And then the petals were how you would feel once this project was done. And then the roots were what is the support and request that would help nurture and cultivate this flower. And then each one of us shared our flower and what the support and requests we were asking from the group. And such a wide variety. We had, I think, was it 6 women, or by then maybe 5, because one had to leave. But we had everything from someone who had just turned 40 that week to a woman in her 80s that's a vice president in her husband's company after her retirement as a teacher, So it was just like we had these amazing women with such wonderful life experiences. And the 40-year-old shared that she was going to be writing an intergenerational book based on her experience. So she's a writer and was wanting to write, and she found inspiration in hearing the women. So that was a really sweet thing to come. And each one of them had their own amazing story of who they were and I mean, I personally speaking for myself, I learned something from every single woman, and I felt gifted by their presence and their energy and their stories. Yeah, immensely gifted.
And we called that process heart storming.
Oh,
Storming,
I
right?
forgot about that. Thanks, Laura.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
was amazing. I mean, it was the perfect way to do it.
yeah.
And support each other. It was really a very supportive environment. I too came away from that exercise with, so I'm writing the book to go along with the feminine power cards.
nice.
And what I want to do is do interviews with women about each topic, the 52 topics that are in here. And so that will help me write the book.
Oh, wonderful.
Have like a conversation about, okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about this. No wonder and explore about your magnificence. What do you hear at that? And then I can like start rambling
Ah,
and just have and then if there's a question that comes up, that person can ask me a question or I could ask them a question and maybe we come up with a story and then I have a chapter,
that's fantastic.
right? So
Yeah.
being in flow. So that's the power of the group. And I just feel so strongly about connecting with women consciously and discussing the feminine and how we can be more in our feminine because we have to balance it out. And if we don't, we're just exhausted and not as joyful. And that's not good for nobody.
Right. Or the other extreme is then we're not stepping out into the light and we're like underutilized and serving others and feeling like something's missing or something's um what's the point, you know? It gets to a point
Yeah.
of apathy. Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't have much more, but we would love to tell you how you can stay connected with us. And obviously, you're welcome to come back to July's event. We will be having another topic and we'll announce that in the email. So, but how you can stay in touch with us and connected in the meantime, I put 3 links in the chat. You're invited to get your own deck of feminine power cards if you like at femininepowercards.com. And Vasi has is a 20-minute session.
20-minute, yes, intuitive session.
Unlock your next level of impact, and that's a gift. Is that correct?
That's
Wow.
correct.
Yeah.
The
And my gift,
20-minute free intuitive session. Yes.
yeah. And mine is unlock
That's
your
so generous.
feminine essence, unlock your feminine influence code session. So we can take a look at where is it that you'd like to bring more feminine into your life and how can we do that? Oh yeah, we do have a topic for July and that is the magic of intention.
Mm,
So that is what we would love to invite you to. And you can save the chat. It has these links in them.
just hit save.
Yay!
Yay.
It's so funny, how well placed everything is in general. Like, can I share something about,
Yeah,
I'm just going to say, yeah, what are you
what do you
noticing?
mean?
yeah, so before hopping on here and I was getting off a phone call and it was with some motorcycle racing associations and there's a lot of resistance in this whole thing. And to be honest, it is all male energy ego. And out of these people, I'm kind of the feminine that's coming in, aside from literally being the feminine, but coming in and trying to get some collaboration and understanding that the only way that we can move forward is for people to check their egos, forgive, and move on. And it's really difficult for these two groups, and I belong to one of them. And luckily, my counterpart has been recently taking some management courses, and he's starting to understand and step into a little bit of this. But the other two are very much, it's not happening. So I've been really focusing on how am I bringing feminine energy to our motorcycle road racing association, because it's me and 10 guys. Even telling them stop telling stories that say, oh, if a rider does this, then he's going to do that. I said, why did you have to switch into the guys? You understand if your niece or your daughter or any woman is around, they're going to think that they're not part of those reindeer games. So these are the kind of educational notes that I'm trying to give at every meeting, but this other thing that we're dealing with now is a scale higher. So this is oh so perfectly placed.
Yeah. And it's so important that you're doing this even without obviously stating it to them, right? Because men need this. They need the feminine energy in their life. It, I like to say, I think I shared this at the retreat. When I give talks on the feminine, and if there's any men in the room, I'll say, men, if women disappeared on the planet, how many of you would like to still be here? Anybody? No, nobody. I said, women, if men disappeared on the planet, we'd be okay, wouldn't we? We'd be okay. We'd have a good time nurturing each other,
Spa days every day.
spa days, yeah, whatever. Big difference. They need us. They need our feminine energy in essence. We are their reason for living.
Yeah.
So, and that's powerful if we really understand it. And that's what I love exploring is that. And we do that in my 7-week course called Ignite Your Feminine Soul. And right now we're in week 3, and I will probably be running it again in the fall. And it's an exploration into the magical powers we have, really, as women in the feminine and how it can influence the men. So,
and it's fabulous. I highly recommend it. I'm going through it for the second time myself. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Very experiential.
I personally, a mentor of mine shared a very similar course with me, and I did it 8 times. I wanted to master this energy of feminine energy in essence. And how do you, the woman who did it, she would be in a soup plantation and men were running to the door to get it for her. And she was in her 50s. And I'm like, whatever she has, I want. She did. She imparted that to me. So now I impart it to others.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And Jessica, something that Laura says that I want to bring into this space because it's so powerful is like once you share something with us, it's like you're in our orbit. And so we hold that, close to our heart and we support that energetically. So the fact that you're the only women with those men and that you're wanting to bring collaboration in and flow and synergy and other things that you didn't mention, but I completely see where you're coming from. You are not alone. I want to tell you
Thank
that
you.
because now that you've shared it with us, yeah, we're helping you hold the energy for that.
Thank you so much. That means that's awesome.
It's like you have a nest, that is emanating out energy to you anytime, and you can come back here anytime too. So thank you. Anything you want to add, Vasi, before we close?
Yeah, it feels like there's something. Let me just see what's in it. That our magnificence is first for us. It's to fill us up first. And then when we are filled with our magnificence, then it's intended to be overflowed. And that's how we create flow.
Ooh.
So whatever, like I have to be joyful, right? I'm unleashed joy. I have to be joyful before I can give that to others. And for each one of you and anyone listening to the replay, make sure that you are overflowing with your magnificence. And then that's the highest way that you can offer it to others and serve.
Love that. Makes total sense.
Like the oxygen
Again, it's very
in the planes.
exactly. And it's the taking that to a whole new level. It's like one thing to say, yeah, I'll put on my mask first, but really this embodying that, not like to prove something, not because in order to, but because intrinsically it serves all.
Yeah.
It serves all. And that's the only thing you can do. Without an apology needed.
Yeah.
Mm. You've sparked something in me now. I'm gonna not question, but I'm going to reflect every time I use the words in order to, and
Yeah.
feel into that energetically. What is the in order to? Is that an obligation? Is that a flow? What's the real essence around those times where you're thinking about in order to? What's the intention?
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It
What's
is cool.
the higher intention? Because perhaps there is a higher intention, and then that lifts us up to that frequency, right? That level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
Love that.
it's very sad that I can't ride a motorcycle right now because my arm's still a little bit no good. But Vasi, when you're talking about flow, I always explain that for me, the time where I've recognized what actual, like, seriously, you're rocking it flow is going over 100 miles an hour on a motorcycle at a track where you have to like tip, turn, drag your knee on the pavement, blah, 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 blah. But this is the ultimate of flow.
Yeah.
Things are going by so quickly. You're tying the turns together. They're not 1, 2, 3. It's a 1, 2, 3 type thing. You know, something that you mess up on one is going to affect 4. And that's what I really feel. That's when I first discovered what actual flow was when I was actually going really fast on a motorcycle. You don't have doors, you don't have a box around you. It's just you. Like, you're very,
Mhm.
viscerally vulnerable.
Mhm.
And, when I can meditate or visualize and get into that flow
Mhm.
state and touch, it's when things explode in life
Mm.
Easily, right?
easily.
Yeah.
Because
Thank
it
you for
has to be
sharing
easy.
that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just, I was getting this sense of you like being one with the motorcycle, being one with the road, being one with everything. There was like no separation.
No,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Yay.
Thank you for
Well, this
upping
is
my
so good.
joy. It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will be clicking on your links and taking advantage of your very generous offers here. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
And where do you hold your retreats? If I can
Well,
ask.
I've traveled with them. So if there's a group of women, I will come and do it for a group. And Bossy and I hold them here in San Diego for groups of women here. And or we've had people travel in from far and wide too for them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sure.
Well,
Very
people like to
cool.
come to San Diego, so that was easy. We had New Jersey, Tennessee, and I forget one other area. People traveled here. Yeah,
Orange County, yeah.
Orange County, right? Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool.
But the last one, everybody was from San Diego. So and
Okay.
the first one I did in Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, everybody was in Texas who that I did it with. So I can come to Calgary, I can go to Costa Rica,
My gosh. Yeah, I can just see like Rocky Mountain because we're
That's
an hour away from the Rockies.
wow.
And there's so many cool little lodges between Calgary and Lake Louise and Banff and all that. That would be brilliant.
Well, let's talk if
Mhm.
to help me make that happen.
Yes, yes, this would
Okay.
be spectacular.
Yeah, I do
This
travel.
is good. This is good motivation for the to-dos as well, because there's a couple of projects that I said you're allowed to start that when you finish a few other things in a good way,
There you go.
because then I'll have the energy and the pat myself on the back. You did all that. And now let's go and play and have some deep fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I look forward to
So
talking to
good.
you, and I know Vasi does too.
All
So
right.
thank you for being here, and we will hopefully
Pleasure.
see you really soon.
So
Thank you
great
for
to
the
meet you, Jessica.
back at you. Thank for the big, big boost for the rest of my evening as well. And I
You
hope
bet.
it's reciprocated.
Totally.
Yeah.
For
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah.
Wicked.
All
Wicked,
right.
wicked.
I'll see you
All right.
Okay.
soon.
Have a
Bye.
great
Ciao, ciao.
evening.
Thank
Bye.
you.